Good morning. ASNI Arthur Rafferty speaking. Now, I would like to speak to you this morning about our so-called Lord Chief Justice. After a long wait, I have just received a letter from that so-called Lord Chief Justice telling me that I cannot take my case to the UK courts. Apparently, that double act, the Lord Chief Justice and the Attorney General, are willing to allow Edmund Pooch to bring his case to the UK courts, but not mine. Double standards comes to my mind, or perhaps the Masonic Lodge has stepped in to lay down the law. I appeared in court here before a corrupt Judge Ivan Bell for an assessment of damages award after the Belfast Trust failed to appear in court 3 times before the same Judge Ivan Bell. At the 4th hearing in court, the corrupt judge set aside the award for damages to me and awarded it to the Belfast Trust, who, by the way, was his former employer for over 20 years at the Royal Victoria Hospital. Surely there was a conflict of interest there, as that Judge Ivan Bell should never have been put on my case. This corrupt judge said to me in court in front of the Belfast Trust lawyer that he doesn't know of anyone who would take a case like mine on and win it, and that defendant's lawyers would pick holes in my case. I reported this excuse for the Judge Ivan Bell to the Lord Chief Justice, and after a lengthy wait for a reply, he said, "The Chief Justice does not uphold your complaint against the Master and is satisfied that the Master did not behave inappropriately." Big word. Talk about one corrupt judge siding with another corrupt judge. But that is the type of court system we have here in Northern Ireland. That is why my case will have to be heard in the UK courts, where these people know what justice means. So I will be taking my case also to the European Courts of Human Rights, as I don't think that our so-called Lord Chief Justice and the Attorney General know what human rights means. Going by the corrupt court system they run here in Northern Ireland, as I see no future in speaking to those bunch of corrupt so-called legal people. I have been fighting them for over 12 years and have reached the very top, and they are every bit as corrupt as the rest of them. I think that must be part of their training to become a solicitor, a lawyer, and a judge. How to steal money from the public, how to commit fraud, how to rob and rip the public off, how to steal legal aid, and to collude with doctors to take the public on. They are all part of the one corrupt system. If they are brought before the Bar Council, happy days. They are the teachers who taught them. Then you get the corrupt judge who steps out of line, and he is reported to none other but the Lord Chief Justice, who has a cup of tea with him in the bar library and washes his problem away. To hell with the pure public. But of course, that is the way the court legal system works in Northern Ireland. One old boys club, one for all and all for one. When you have no faith in the Lord Chief Justice and the Attorney General, then the whole system comes tumbling down. I can say with confidence that after 12 years of fighting my case against these corrupt people, I have never came across so many corrupt, no, not only corrupt, but also devious, greedy, lying, thieving scumbags and also pillars of the church, and they all come from the legal system, doctors, and of course the court system. That goes to show the good, clean, hard-working public what type of scum we have running our country, as well as those so-called politicians up on the hill. It is like a cancer, it runs right through the whole system. Now, just a note to the Lord Chief Justice and the Attorney General, I will get my case heard in the UK courts no matter what you corrupt people say. My human rights entitles me to a fair trial. How could I get a fair trial in your corrupt courts run by you corrupt people? There is no justification for this kind of corrupt treatment by our so-called legal and court system. Now I'd like to speak about Edmund Poots. I listened to Edmund Poots talking about corruption in the health service. I have raised this matter many times since 2007. I have reported it to the GMC in Manchester, the BMA in Belfast, and the Health Minister's office not once but 3 times. Now, I run 2 advice centres helping people suffering from asbestosis called ASNI. I have first-hand knowledge of how doctors treat patients, as I see at least 20 people each day. These people are suffering from an asbestos-related disease, so they are seeking compensation, and their solicitors have sent them to see a consultant for an independent examination to strengthen their case. Now, 8 out of 10 of these sick people tell me that the consultant does not even examine them. They make their report from hospital files that their solicitors have got for them. I know this to be true because it happened to me twice. These 2 so-called consultants never even asked me to strip off. I sat and watched them looking through my files, and they made their report from my files. This fraudulent scam has been going on for many years, and the fees these corrupt people charge is £600 every time they see a patient. What these corrupt consultants are doing is illegal and fraud, paid for by the public purse. And their solicitors and lawyers know this is going on. As to that, I have no doubt these consultants are getting paid to give the sick person an independent examination, and they don't even examine them at all. Now, many people have been turned down by these consultants because of a bad report that they wrote. How can they write a report if they don't even examine the patient? These consultants are getting paid to give the patient an independent examination, and in case they don't know what that means, I will explain it to them. The patient is to get a thorough examination by the consultant, free from the control or influence of others, capable of acting for oneself or on one's own. That means he is to use his own judgment and not hospital records or other doctor's notes. I have also reported this scam to the Lord Chief Justice's office and the Attorney General's office, but nothing ever happened. It makes you wonder. If the Health Minister wants to speak to me about those so-called doctors, he can phone me on 07715 921137 and I will meet him. As this fraudulent scam has to stop. That sick people deserve to be told the truth by these people. Now, about Matt Baggett. Here we go again. Our so-called Chief Constable Matt Baggett, now that he has got rid of Dave Cox of the HCT to appease his Sinn Féin ARA and their cronies. Now he has put in his place not 1 but 2 RUC PSNI chums. More expense for the public purse. One could not do the job, so he put two in. These two will be in charge of looking into cases of innocent victims murdered by Sinn Féin ARA, who colluded with the RUC, PSNI, also the FLU, and also the RUC Special Branch, who murdered innocent victims and set innocent victims up to be murdered by their well-paid informers from both Sinn Féin ARA and loyalist groups. What sympathy can victims expect from these two RUC police looking into the murders committed by their fellow police chums? I, for one, have no faith in them at all, and I don't want them anywhere near my father's case. My father was murdered by Sinn Féin ARA, who colluded with the RUC, and 5 Special Branch informers, all members of Sinn Féin ARA. Now, Matt Baggott has stooped to an all-time low by putting 2 RUC old boys to look into the hundreds of innocent victims murdered by their fellow members of the RUC Old Boys Club. I think it's time the innocent victims' families stood up and said enough is enough, and Matt Baggott and his Sinn Féin ARA chums should go, as innocent victims who were murdered by this scum can't speak for themselves. Thank you for listening to me, and I will see you soon.